When it comes to side hustles or just hustling in general, today we're going to be talking about one of the OGs in the game. And by OGs, I mean one of the hustles that's actually been around for quite some time. It's been very known, especially in the fitness industry. We're going to be talking about how to become a certified personal trainer. Now, most people know what a personal trainer is, but just to give a general description, everyone has fitness goals, but they may not know how to reach them on their own. And a personal trainer is going to give you the motivation, coaching, and techniques you need to reach your fitness goals and stay in good shape. Of course, I haven't been a personal trainer before, even though I know a lot about exercising. So, we're actually going to be talking to someone who has the expertise in that matter. His name is Hasan Blount, and he has been a personal trainer for quite some time. He also has a number of side hustles on his belt, under his belt, rather. And this is going to be a replay of a live stream I did on my other channel, Financial Anatomy. It's not available on that channel anymore, but it fits perfectly for the Side Hustler Society podcast because we talk about the benefits of being a personal trainer, the obstacles you may encounter while, doing it, and how to overcome those obstacles. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and play the footage from my Financial Anatomy live stream that I did. So you may hear some call to actions about Financial Anatomy, but the nuts and bolts and benefits, so to speak, are going to be in that live stream. So we're going to start playing that audio right after the intro. So let's get started.
Welcome to the Side Hustler Society podcast with your host, Elijah Bilel. This is where you can find out more about hustles that are best for you. And of course, make more money in the process. Elijah has been in the gig economy and freelance space for over 5 years and has done over 3,000 deliveries on Uber Eats. He's an Airbnb superhost, runs multiple YouTube channels, and is the author of the best-selling book, The Anatomy of Financial Success. It's his mission to empower people with the tools needed to be successful. Now, welcome your host, the king of side hustles, Elijah Bilel.
Sup, everyone? This is Elijah with Financial Anatomy, the place where we show you how to take control of your financial destiny. Here on this channel, we talk about personal finance, side hustles, ways to make money, and also investing. And I'm pretty glad to be having a guest on this stream because y'all hear me preach all the time. It's important to have some kind of trade or skill that you can fall back on so you can support yourself in the future financially. And one growing trend is actually becoming a personal trainer, especially if you're passionate about health and wellness, exercising, and you have a physique to show that off. And even if you don't have a physique to show it off, you can build that physique over time, rather. So I'm pretty excited to bring on a personal trainer. His name is Hasan, and he actually has a YouTube channel where he talks about a few things. And he overall has a hustler's mentality, and that mentality is what I really want to talk about in this stream. Because once you get that mentality, the problem of not having enough money kind of just falls in the background. Then you have another problem, which is having too much money, and that's a much better problem to have than not having enough money. So we're gonna welcome on the stream Hasan. You on the stream, bro?
What's going on, man? Sani Bravo. It's my YouTube name for my YouTube channel, aka Hasan, personal trainer out here in the Seattle area.
That's what's up. So Hasan, before we jump into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, I know you got a few things going on, and you obviously have the personal trainer as a trade, but it sounds like you've kind of used it to launch other things off the ground. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and that process?
Yeah, so prior to personal training, I've always been a freelancer. You know, I've been self-employed, either part-time or full-time since the age of 23. I just turned 34, so it's been over 10 years now. I've had my hands in various different side hustles, everything from, selling hot dogs on a hot dog cart, having an ice cream truck, selling team merchandise, just a whole host of different things. And, I got myself a trade because that was something that I could come in the door and learn from working for a company, and then eventually start my own thing. And that's what I ended up doing, as well as dabbling online. And now I train clients online, and I do the YouTube thing and a lot of other various things as well.
Hmm. Right. So you said the most important thing, in my opinion, which is you decided to get that trade. And then once you got that trade, I would say just things financially started getting a lot easier. When you say,
Well, I would say things are more. See, I got the trade to make things more stable year round, because it would be a feast or famine type thing. When it's nice outside in the city in the months of, like, let's say April through September in Seattle, you can make a lot of money. There's a lot going on. But when people do the hibernation phase from October, through the winter time, um, it's a lot tougher to really get that grind going, to make money from the grind in the same way. So having that trade to fall back on, you can go indoors and you can do that sales pitch to people indoors versus being outside trying to really get it off the hustle like that. So it's like you got
so
that corporate hustle as well.
okay, so it's more so you got another tool that you can use in your inventory to make things work financially. Does that sound about right?
Right, to make things more stable year round, and as well as something I've always been passionate about for a long time. So it makes it easier for me to sell it, because I really believe in what I'm selling, and it's actually changed my life and my physique from being a skinny 150-pound guy to now, 185, 190-pound power lifter. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I can personally relate to that. I used to be I'm not saying I'm this big bulk dude, but I used to be pretty smaller in my early 20s, around 140, 150. Now I start hitting that gym, my weight ranges between like 190 and 180. And a lot of people don't realize this, but when you're doing with any kind of sales, your physique plays a big role subconsciously in terms of how that person sees you. So if you're in shape and the best version of yourself, a lot of times you kind of speak for the service that you're offering. Like you might not even have to say anything, and they may already be sold. In addition
Right.
to what comes out afterwards.
Right. It's funny that you say it, because like I'm not the biggest guy in the world. Like I got to the point where I felt comfortable. Like I didn't want to feel like a skinny guy. I always wanted to feel like strong and powerful, like I can be effective. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
being in the gym, like when I first got my first job training at the gym after I got my certification, I've taken a couple months off, but I was, I really, really looked the part at the time. And my boss even told me at one point, he's like, man, I know you didn't have much experience, but I know you had a little sales background and you looked the part. So I wanted to roll the dice on you. And I ended up doing really well based
Mm-hmm.
on my physique. People will be drawn towards hiring me as their trainer, as well as the knowledge that I had, and people being able to see my work.
Got you, got you. That actually is a great transition into, I guess, the Q&A that we'll do. So, anyone that's watching live right now, if you have any questions about anything we're talking about, or the trade of being a personal trainer, or just self-employment questions in general, feel free to drop them in the chat. But we won't address them till later in the stream. So, if you drop a question, like we haven't forgot about you, we'll just address them after we get done with the initial Q&A. So, feel free to drop any questions that you got. So, a lot of people probably have this first question, but how does one actually become a personal trainer? Like, let's say they wake up and, hey, I got inspired. I want to be a personal trainer. Like, what's the next step? What do I do?
So what I would recommend is, first and foremost, you want to get yourself in the best possible shape of your life, because while I was going through the process of getting my certification, I was learning a lot on my own,
Mm-hmm.
really for years, and I was struggling with putting weight on. So I was figuring that out while I was studying for my certification. I was
Mm-hmm.
changing my own physique. So really, in personal training, you want to look the part, because you're going to be much more successful if you look the part. If you don't look the part, it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm not going to lie to you. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
40, 50, 60 pounds overweight, you might want to get that under control before you go into personal training, in my personal opinion. Um, Now, that being said, there's a lot of certifying bodies. You got ACE, you got NASM, you got, uh, man, I'm trying to think of all of them off the NSCM. You got a lot of different certification bodies that are good. Um, I like the fact that with NASM, they're a highly respected organization, highly marketed. A lot of companies know about them. It's a good way to get your foot in the door. It's a good certification that's respected. And you can do like a finance plan, you know what I'm saying? Like you can make payments on your certification course, so you don't have to pay the whole, $500 to $1,500 all at once. You can break it up, and that was what slowed me down when I was younger, because I wanted to initially become a trainer when I was 18 years old, and I didn't have all the money up front to get the certification. So when I found out you could make payments, I was like, oh, that's a no-brainer, because I know I could pay off, $1,500-$1,600 over, I think you got like 2 years or something like that. Like, I know I can do it in payments. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay. No, it's interesting you brought up for anyone that's wondering what NASM stands for, it stands for National Academy of Sports Medicine. And that's the one I've heard that there are various certifications out there, but I've heard that one is the most recognized and kind of seen as the best one. So if you get that one, then it's kind of like that's the great starting place. It's based on what I've heard. Would you say that's true?
I would say there's some truth to that. It's one of the best ones. From what I've heard, there are some like NSCM that are actually known to be harder, like more difficult. But NASM, it gives you a good base knowledge. It's not specified. Like, some are more sports specified, some are more physical therapy specified. NASM gives you a good base knowledge of a little bit of everything, so you're a well-rounded trainer before you go into specifying, and you can get different certifications through them. You can get a elderly population certification, or injury recovery type of certification. I don't remember a specific name right now off the top of my head, but there's lots of certifications that you can take that are 3 to 6 months that you can accumulate to have specified knowledge in different areas, which increases your value, increases your marketability to work with different populations. So yeah, I think NASM, in my opinion, is definitely a great go-to for a brand new trainer. And then you can branch off into what you prefer specifically. Like, if you're going to work with athletes, maybe go to, a few different certifications that are more specified specifically to working with athletes and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense, because a lot of times it is important to be specialized once you kind of narrow in who you want to work with. But to get a more generalized point of view, that's a great one to start with. And from there, you can go into which ones you want. Based on who you want to work with, that determines your next step as far as which next certification.
Right, and I think, and if you, after you get like 6 different certifications, I believe it is, over a period of about 2 years. I'm a little rusty. It's been a while since I was really deep into the books and everything. But you can become a master trainer, and that just gives you a ton of knowledge, ton of marketability. See, my thing is about continually educating myself is more for knowledge, because the more knowledge I have, the more I'll be able to market myself to my clients and potential clients. Because I haven't worked for the gym in about 1.5 years now. I've been training clients on my own, and I've transitioned to training clients on Zoom virtually and FaceTime. But when someone inquires about my services, I have a vast knowledge of how to actually help them, and that's what translates into sales. So I don't really have to sell them; they sell themselves. Because if they ask me, how can I lose 20 pounds, I can break it down to a science. If you ask me, how can I put on 20 pounds, like I did, I put on 23 pounds in a year. I can break that down to a science, because I did it. I went through the trenches every single day, preparing my meals, counting my calories, getting my workouts consistently, tracking my strength gains, like the whole 9. Yeah.
Okay. So you brought up, that's a good transition to probably the biggest question a lot of people have. And this been a financial channel, I can't get out of asking this question. But how much do personal trainers make, like on a weekly basis? I know it does depend on how hard you're willing to work, because this is something where if you want to put in the work, you can make this much, but if you're lazy, you'll make this much.
Right.
Like, what would you say is how much? How about this? How much would you say reasonably that someone can make as a personal trainer on a weekly basis if they work hard?
I would break it down to monthly more so, but the thing
Hey, that's cool.
as a trainer, you could make McDonald's employee salary, or you can make six figures. It's such a wide spectrum because I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're gonna work at a popular commercial gym, you ain't gonna make nothing. You're gonna make peanuts. They ain't gonna pay you nothing. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the research for a good 6 months on what different gyms pay before I decided to take my first job, because you're a profit center as a personal trainer. You're bringing extra profit into the gym, and you get a percentage of that revenue. The problem is a lot of places want to pay you a tiny percentage of the revenue. So I'm not gonna. I almost mention specific gyms, but think of big commercial gyms, and you'll know what I'm talking about. The big ones. That's them. They don't have good. They don't treat their employees well, and they tend not to have their customers they don't hold the customers in high esteem as well. It's all about that bottom line more than anything. So they're not going to take care of their employees or contractors. So the thing is, I found a gym that paid me 40 to 45% of the profit from what I brought in from a new client. So let's say if I sell a client a package for, let's say, 24 sessions, right? And it's like $2,600 or something like that. I'm going for each session I train them, I get a percentage of that. I get 40% of each session. So say if their sessions are $85, $90, like I used to train for, I get about, maybe 40 or $35 out of that, roughly, you know what I'm saying, per session.
Right.
And that ends up going on my check. And then you take taxes out and all that stuff like that. But, a lot of gyms, they'll pay you hourly per hour that you train a client, and you're going to end up making like, $15 an hour or something like that. And you're not working straight hours, like 8 hours a day. You're working when you're training. So you end up being at the gym all day making peanuts.
Oh, gosh.
So I had a good income. So I was working maybe 30, 35 hours a week at the gym at about $30, $35 an hour, depending on what I sold a package for. The thing is, in my gym too, I could sell, if someone wanted to pay it, I could sell my sessions for $100, $115, whatever, $100-something an hour if I wanted to. But most of my clients were $85, $90 an hour. But yeah, it depends on you. Some places have that set pay to where you're really limited on what you can make. So at my gym, it depends on how much time you're willing to spend at that gym, how much you're going to fill up your book, and how much you just want to hustle. You don't have no life, you can make six figures.
That's why it's important to have balance, right? Because if you don't have any life, that's going to be crazy. Yeah. So like when you're working for a gym, do you determine your rates, or does the gym determine your rates?
It varies. It depends on the gym's payment structure. Some pay you a set hourly rate no matter what they're charging the client, which is bull, in my opinion. I'm gonna keep it PG. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But
in the world of freelancing, that per hour stuff, it keeps you limited. It actually keeps people limited in general. We start charging per result. That's when you're rewarded for efficiency and making things faster and getting a better result. Versus per hour, you're punished for doing a better job, in my opinion, because you're not going to make as much money. Yeah.
Right. So my hourly rate was based on what I sell a package for, or the hourly rate that my client is paying. So if I get 40%, I'll get 40% of what my client's paying per session. And then let's say I hit a bonus that month to where I sell a ton of new sessions and all my clients renew their sessions and everything like that, which happened a lot. I did that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And you hit a certain number, it bumps your percentage up that you receive. So let's say if you get 40% per session, it brings it up to 45% for your commission check. So you get an extra 5% on top of what you're already going to make off of your sessions if you hit a certain quota, bonuses and stuff. So that's how my pay structure was at my gym. But a lot of gyms aren't structured in a way that's really advantageous to the trainers, in my opinion.
And that's why it's so critical to do the background research before you decide on what gym you want to go work for, right?
Yeah, I would say, because my main thing really was just trying to get my foot in the door, because I already had a side hustle. I already had other ways to make money. And I just wanted to get some experience under my belt.
Right.
It was cool that I happened to find a place that paid well, because I was literally scouting different gyms. I walk into the gym and I'd be like, hey, how much do y'all pay your trainers? You know what I'm saying? That's how I got hired. Literally, I walked into where I was working. I was like, what's y'all pay structure for your trainers? I'm interested. You know, I'm looking at different gyms. And then the manager, he basically sold me on the job. He's like, oh, we got the highest pay in the city, which probably true. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, word. And then I was like, oh, well, shoot, let's get it. You know, I had just got my certification a couple weeks prior to that, and it was a blessing. It just came together. You know, it came together for me.
Cool. Okay. So, when it comes to, you mentioned that that you've been in the world of self-employment. Well, I'll say hustling a while back before you actually got involved in personal trainers. So, how did you find yourself in the world of self-employment in general, even if it's not directly related to personal training?
Yeah, you know, they say, what was it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
I think
So
that's the
basically,
saying. Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, I needed to make money.
Hmm.
I had already had kids before I became a personal trainer. Already had a bit of a, let's say, a rough background prior to. I couldn't really do the corporate world, you know what I'm saying, because of various things. I couldn't get a high enough paying job most of the time. I did work in the restaurant a little bit, and restaurant industry, and that was cool. But you know, I'm just a guy that I guess marches to the beat of his own drum more so than a lot of people. So I couldn't really fit well into most corporate structures to where I don't really have control over my own destiny and someone just trying to lord over me, and I don't really have a position of influence in the company where I'm just like a small fish in a big pond. So I had to make myself a bigger fish in my own for my own lifestyle because I wanted to be able to have stable income and be able to control my own destiny more. So that led me to pursue more of a sales route and figure out
Hmm.
how to get good at that because I hated it at first. I hated sales. I hated rejection. I hated all that. But
Right.
I had to figure it out. So what motivated me was just having the worst winter possible. I lost my restaurant job, car got repoed, lost my place, baby mom left me. The whole dog died, you know what I'm saying? Not literally, but you know what I'm saying? The whole sob story.
Right.
And I just really did my best to educate myself throughout that winter. I ended up working at like Burger King. It wasn't enough to like get my own place, get on my feet or nothing, but I just wanted to get working again, educating myself, and just figuring out, okay, what am I going to do? So I ended up, once March, April came around, I ended up driving an ice cream truck for the second time. I did that before when I was 18. I worked
Hmm.
for a lady who drove an ice cream truck, ended up buying my own ice cream truck. And when that started to slow down, when the season was coming to an end, I ran into a cat that we became real good friends and ended up getting a hot dog cart together later on, but he was selling DVDs. So I did what I had to do. The ice cream thing was slowing down, and I knew the season was about to change. So I was, man, I got to do something. I'm not going to be broke again. I'm not going to work fast food again. I got to get on my feet, get my own place, get my stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Take care of these
Uh-huh.
kids. So, yeah, I adopted the mentality that like if somebody else can do something, I could figure it out too. Like if this man could do this thing and make a couple $100 a day selling DVDs, I could do it too. So bro plugged me in, you know what I'm saying, taught me the game, and I started running with that. And then that led to another thing. And, you know, we ended up getting a hot dog cart business and just, you know what I mean? At that point, once I made that mental switch that if somebody else could do it, I could do it. That's what changed everything, really.
Hmm.
Matter of putting in the time, and it's a numbers game. You know, if you talk to a certain number of people, it's a percentage of them that's going to say yes, even if you suck. And then you just get better with the repetition, just like anything else.
Right. And when it comes to sales, a lot of people when it comes to rejection, a lot of people take it personally. When like 90% of the time, it's probably just going to be the timing. The time is not right on their end, and that's usually the reason behind the no. So when you realize everything kind of comes down to that timing, it lines up on both sides. You really are able to detach yourself from like the outcome because they're not rejecting you personally. Most of the time, it's just not the right timing.
And it could be timing. There's different factors, especially when you're new. If you're nervous and you're not used to approaching people, it
Right.
could be your approach. It could be like your negative self-talk, you know what I'm saying? It could be you're in your own head, so you feel like you're defeated before you even approach people. And things like that, I think just take time to get over. What I used to do in the beginning phases, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't recommend this if you're in the corporate world, but if you're working for yourself, then do you, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, this
So
should be good.
I used to sip a little something, you know what I'm saying, before I go out and approach people all day. So I'll be feeling good. I'll be kind of relaxed, you know what I'm saying, laid back. And then I did that probably for the first couple of weeks. And then once I just got used to approaching people and it became second nature, I could make that mental switch and put myself in that hustler state of mind and put myself in that grind state of mind to where it was like fun. Like I loved doing it. It got to the point where I felt weird if I wasn't approaching somebody to sell something. I have nothing
Right.
to sell and walking down the street and I'd be like, ready to do it, and I don't even have it. Feel weird not to be selling, you know. So I went from like feeling awkward approaching people to feeling weird not approaching people. You know what I mean?
Right. And your journey of how you got involved in self-employment, I can really relate to that because at this point, I would say at the age of 25, I kind of learned that me personally, I'm not speaking against anyone outside this scenario. I'm just expressing, but I'm psychologically unemployable. I think I kind of learned that I cannot really have a boss above me, and
Mm-hmm.
if I do, they have to be
Yeah,
like 20 times better than me. And in the corporate world, which I've experienced, that usually is just not the case.
bro. You know what? Yeah, man. Like, see, the thing the only reason I could work at the gym is because I had the freedom of knowing I have something else going on outside of
Mhm.
this. So if they want to fire me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Because I still have my own thing going on. I was passionate about the gym, and the thing is, when you're good at something, and like if you're a good salesman and you're good at the skill, you're an asset. So they don't treat you the same way. I felt
Mhm.
valued at the gym. I didn't feel like a peon. And that was a big shift. I got promoted after 3 months being there. You know what I'm saying? Like you're valued in a different way, so you feel differently. Your boss respects you. You can
Mhm.
hold your head high. It's not, you don't really feel like an employee in the same way. So I actually would enjoy going to work. So that's a big shift when you have a skill to offer and you're good at something. It's way different. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, this is cool. It didn't really feel like I was going to slave away for a boss, especially
Mhm.
because I made money based on what I sold and what I produced.
Right.
It's not like you
Yes.
punch in, you're like, okay, you get this much for today, get your ass home, come back when I tell you. You know, it's like it's way you're more of it's really you're more of a contractor because you kind of set your own schedule because you and the client decide when, okay, what time works for you, and you're like, okay, you could schedule it at a time that works for both of y'all. So you don't have a boss telling you need to be here, you need to leave at this time. They'll hold you
Mhm.
accountable if you're messing up and you're not being a responsible, if you're not being responsible. But if you're a responsible person that can handle your own business, you don't have nobody really breathing over your neck. In the beginning when you're new, like me, I attacked it. I wanted to be the best trainer I could. So I was like
Mhm.
hounding my boss. I was following my boss around like a freaking puppy for the first 2-3 weeks to soak in all his knowledge and learn
Mhm.
everything he could. He worked in high-end gyms and stuff. So I was soaking in everything I could from him. And then
Uh
after a
huh.
couple of weeks, it was so good that I was just off and running.
Yeah, and you beat me to it, but I was gonna ask, like, this sounds very similar to being a contractor, and like I
Yeah.
know we're talking about personal training here, but a lot of people got to realize when it comes to skills or freelancing in general, you overall have greater value and leverage because one, you could go somewhere else and they know that, but two is the alternative is whatever skill or trade you're offering, you could always just do that for yourself too, and when you're offering some kind of trade or skill, you're very rewarded for being the best version of yourself and really owning your trade and skill. And people you work with, they realize that, so they really value you differently than if you're just an employee.
Right. Right,
So,
exactly. It's like I said earlier. You're like a profit center. You have that skill to offer. It's a valuable skill. If someone's gonna pay you, you know, $80-$90 an hour to produce them a result. You're valuable. You're valuable on the
right.
market, or you're valuable to a job.
Now, I think you may have already answered this question, but this was going to be the next question. Let me know if you already branched into it. But what do you like most about being a personal trainer?
So I look at it kind of. I haven't answered the question yet. I look at it kind of let's say if you're an architect or you're an engineer, you're a person that builds something, I look at it, you could take someone from the ground level, skinny guy, 140 pounds or whatever at 5'10", you know what I'm saying? You could take this kid from that, and with the knowledge that you have and your experience, turn him into a beast version of himself. You know what I'm saying? Like have him feeling more confident, have people 3 months, 90 days later coming up to him, telling him, like, people noticing, like, oh, you been in the gym, man? You looking a little, like that's good for somebody's ego. You know what I'm saying? That's good. That makes somebody feel good. It helps build their confidence. So I think that's what I really like about it the most. And I could get paid handsomely for doing that. So I can accomplish the results based on the knowledge that I have and help people at the same time and get paid well for doing it pretty well,
So you're getting paid to produce a result for people, but that result is something that they value so much in so many different ways. It's just nice to see them get that result, and of course getting compensated pretty well for it. That sounds like the summary.
And people really respect you. People really thank you for what you do, for how they feel. They have more energy levels. They feel good. They feel strong. You know what I'm saying? They're like, if they can't make it, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. They really show you a lot of respect. I mean, that's another good thing about it as well. Versus if you're working for the man, if you mess up somebody's burger, you know what I'm saying? They like you. You know what I'm saying? They come chew you out and they look at you a whole different. I could even imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I ever went and did some kind of job like that, the first time someone talked to me crazy like that, I was like, man, hey man, it was nice. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I can't even imagine being in that state of mind right now because I just have so many skills and I just know I could just go make money. You know what I mean? Not even with just as a trainer. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's just a whole. I can't even understand the concept unless you're like a kid in high school or something.
Like a paradigm shift. Like you may start out offering a certain trade or skill, but once you branch off into that mindset of not just sales, but just a hustle mentality, let's say that skill becomes irrelevant, which personal trainer will never become irrelevant. But for argument's sake, you could just go get another trade or skill, but you already have that mentality built in you. You can't take that out of you. That's going to be something that's a part of you going forward, and it's going to be an asset.
Yeah, and it gives you a level of confidence. Like me personally, like for example, I have cousins that are in construction. I want to build a house. You know what I'm saying? And it's like once I get in the position to where I can do that, even though I don't have that trade behind me, I feel like I know people that know how to do it. So maybe I could pick their brain a little bit, read a couple books. And I feel like over time I could figure it out just because when you go through the process of learning a skill, I think it's kind of repeatable. So you can and maybe you can just go work a job just to learn some more of that skill and just take what you learn and put it towards what you want to do. But it's just, I think it's a different level of confidence you get when you go from just someone who doesn't feel like they have anything to offer to the world that's valuable to when you get that skill and you're like, oh, okay, I can repeat this process. It's kind of like what you said.
Most definitely. So everyone, we're going to take a quick break to allow y'all can go. Well, if either one of us needs to go to the restroom, this now would be a good time. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to jump back into this and ask the final questions and get to your questions.
Is your fear of personal finance holding you back from going after what you want? What if I told you there was a way to get rid of your insecurities? Every person has their own way of making money, budgeting style, and a way of spending money. The key to financial success is the ability to use the right styles for you that ensure success. So, rather than making you focus on avoiding your emotions, this book focuses on empowering them and using them to achieve what you want. Learn how to build and increase the income streams you desire. Understand how to budget your money in a way that you are always moving forward financially. Know how to remove stress from spending money by knowing what works best for your personality. Learn methods to effectively evaluate a financial opportunity within minutes to see if it's right for you.
The Anatomy of Financial Success. The key to building financial confidence and destroying your insecurities about money. Buy now. Available on ebook, audiobook, and paperback. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have Hasan here, who's the founder of the Sani Bravo YouTube channel. And we're breaking down the science of, really how to be successful as a personal trainer. So I would say my next question is, what do you feel was your biggest challenge you encountered in your journey of, it could be just personal trainer, or it could just be business in general. What do you feel like the biggest challenge was for you to overcome?
The biggest challenge is always to position yourself in a way to find the people that want to find you. That's always the biggest challenge. So when I started branching out on my own as a trainer, and in different businesses, finding the people that want to find your service is always the most challenging part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you solve that problem how do you solve that problem when you figured out that was going to be a major challenge?
So my approach in different businesses has always been the numbers game. So for example, when I got my hot dog cart, I would always find high traffic areas where people are going to need food, like a club. If you're outside a club, it's 2, 3 in the morning. There's not very many places open. They've been drinking, they're hungry. They've been sweating. They come outside, they smell them good hot dogs. I've done it. So I was like, oh, I know that's a
key, they
right?
lost a few calories on that dance floor.
Right. And I know leaving out the club looking for a Seattle dog, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, boom, I could be that guy when they leave the club, so it's just, you figure out supply and demand and where the people are that need what you have. Now it's different when you're a trainer because it's not as obvious. You got people at gyms, but you can't just go to random gyms and be like, hey, you want to train? You know what I mean? Like there's kind of rules against that and stuff like that. So you got to get a bit more. Now if you're working in the gym, it's different. You could approach everybody all day long, and then it's a numbers game too. Like staying there and put the grind in, and from sun up to sundown, talking to everybody and following up with those leads, and that's what I did for a while. But my boss, to be honest, fed me a lot of leads because everybody he sent to me, I sold them. Like everybody, I sold them. Like I rarely ever, like if I didn't sell them a training package, they weren't serious. They didn't want to train or they couldn't afford it. But anybody who could afford it, that wanted all the time, sold them, done. So my boss would, seeing that I was good at presenting that value to people, my boss would feed me people all the time. I never lacked for clients, but if you're at a gym that's not as busy when it comes to the training department, you don't have a sales manager that's that good to really attract people to the trainers, you got to be hungry. You got to go out there and holler at them people yourself. I've been at gyms working out to where the salesmen are really hungry like that. They'll come up and talk to you. You got to be that guy that's hungry to go get it.
Right. I could see that because I know it's very fortunate to have that sales manager. They'll be feeding you leads, but obviously you were converting a lot, so it's in his best interest to do that.
Monster. I'm a monster, bro. I miss that, honestly, because I love doing it. Like, if I could just work at a gym, I do it to this day. If I could just work at a gym just to close sales for other trainers, I would love to do that. So like if my time wouldn't be limited, I could come in there and just, all right, who do we got today that needs to be closed? All right, let me go close everybody and go home. Like if I could do that and make good money for doing that, I would love to do that. Cause like, yeah, man, I'm a monster. I love it.
Right. Okay. So like the main focus, if that's not going to be the scenario, let's say your sales manager is lazy. It is what it is. You're free to go and get your own clients off the floor as long as you're working in that gym. And you just can't be afraid to approach people. Put your bid in. They might say no, that's fine. They might say yes, so you move forward. But just don't be afraid to approach. And don't take if the sales manager isn't getting your results, don't be afraid to actually get on the floor and talk to people yourself.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Can't be. I was fortunate enough to where, because I expected to have to do, I'm used to hustling for everything that I get, everything, so I went in there hungry, like I'm going to attack this gym. As soon as I get in here every morning, I'm going to talk to every single person. But it was to the point where I was being fed so many leads that I didn't even have time. I'm taking care of clients I already got. I'm taking care of scheduling issues. I'm occupied. I'm a busy trainer just from the beginning. So I didn't really have time, between being fed leads and training new clients, and I'm a single dad too. So between all that, I didn't even have, I didn't need to, I didn't have time. So I was like,
Right.
dang. So I was looking forward to really getting in and having to, dig in and approach a bunch of clients. But I was so good at closing. I guess when you're a good closer, people they just feed you clients.
Right. One thing I wondered, well, this should carry over nicely into a personal training gig, but as someone who edits videos and has designed websites in the past, I always had like a referral program or an affiliate program where people, I'll reward people for sending people my way. Not to say that same dynamic could happen, has to happen in personal training, but would you say a new trainer should focus on trying to get some referrals out of their existing clientele, or not so much? They should focus on just building their clientele up by themselves.
With referrals, I feel like it's kind of a balancing act. So with my approach with my clients, they're not going to refer you unless they're inspired to refer you.
Right.
So if you really give them great workouts and they really love having you as a trainer and they're really excited, a lot of the time they'll talk to their friends about you just because they're excited about it. And that's the most natural. But I've gotten like 4 referrals from one client just because she was so excited about training with me. She talks to her. It's a part of her life. You know what I mean? So those natural referrals come. I'm trying to think of a good way to ask for a referral. If it comes up naturally in conversation, sometimes clients will be like, I got a friend that could really use a trainer. And then you could be like, well, why don't we all get on a 3-way call, or why don't you have them join you for a workout? That's how I like to do it. Why don't you have them join you for a workout one day? I could take them through the workout. We could talk a little bit. So it's like they're in that comfort zone where they're not meeting a stranger by themselves. So I get them all. It's like a fun thing. Like, oh yeah, that was a fun workout. Like how do you feel about that? You feeling good? Blah blah blah, and then talk to them about their goals and kind of like dive into that a little bit and build that relationship. Monkey branch into that relationship, basically.
That's a pretty cool tactic. I hadn't even thought about that. Sounds like it'd be pretty effective though.
The more natural it happens, the better. But when you're kind of like prying for leads, I haven't seen that to work. You know what I mean? But if it comes up to where they bring it up because they're excited and they're talking to their friends about it, you find a way to kind of like, all right, well, let's get both of you guys on the phone and, let's just have a conversation and see where it goes.
Right. Okay. So I would say this will be a last question, then we'll jump into the general Q&A. So the audience, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll address them after this question. But to the person that's thinking about stepping out and like starting their own business, or maybe even considering being a personal trainer, like what advice would you give to them?
So if you're thinking about starting a business, it depends on the business, but you want to find someone who's doing that business well as a mentor and learn from people's mistakes and learn from people who are experts if you can, if at all possible. Do a lot of research. The best way to find research, effective research, is from someone who's successful at doing what you want to do. If you want to become a personal trainer, just hit me up. I am Sani Bravo on Instagram. Just send me some messages. I'll help you out. I ain't gonna charge you nothing. I don't do that goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? I like to help people. So just hit me up and I'll just give you the game. I'll run the game down to you as much as I know, and I'll have you in the right direction. And if you're in Seattle, I know people with training studios. I know I can help you get your foot in the door too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now we'll be sure to leave all this information in the description, so it's easy just to click on his profile, shoot him a message, all that good stuff. And while we're waiting for any questions from the audience, if you want to tell us a little more about your YouTube channel, feel free to drop some gems. What do you talk about on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I'm in what's called the Black Manosphere. The Manosphere space is like a male dating advice space. And what I do primarily is do responses to current events in the black male dating space, current events, things that are going on with that, as far as like, reacting to content creators like Kevin Samuels, and, maybe if something had, like when AMS was mentioned on the divorce course, Alpha Male Strategies was mentioned on divorce court. And, I also cover a little bit of entertainment. If there's something with like entertainers or hip hop artists, that's a hot story going on, I might jump on that, or something to do with entertainers, relationships. I basically give my perspective on situations that are going on, that are hot in that space of the internet right now. And it started out as a fitness channel. I started out giving fitness advice, doing little funny animations with breaking down different fitness concepts. Like if you look at some of my old videos, you'll see like funny little fitness videos, but they didn't catch as much because that space is extremely competitive since I think 2010. It just blew up, and there's so many content creators in that space. I didn't think that there was really room for me to really grow in that space, but I'm also really interested in the space that I'm currently in, and I have friends in that space that brought me in and given me the game and stuff like that. Shout out to the big homie O'Shea Dujassi, was giving me a lot of advice, and so that kind of drew me to that space, because I followed that space for years before I even started making videos about it. And it started taking off for me. And you'll see in like my intro and outro me doing little workout stuff, because it was initially a fitness channel, but it's taken a turn for and it's cool because my life consists with fitness all the time. Like when I wake up, I'm scheduling clients, I'm talking to clients, I'm dealing with fitness stuff also. It's nice to have a different outlet to talk about a different aspect of myself, as far as on my YouTube channel.
Right. Okay.
And then I can talk about guys become the best version of themselves in business as well, which I'm going to start incorporating more of. Like, I got so much going on. It's nuts. Y'all just got to follow me, check me out. Like, I got a lot going on.
Hey, y'all heard him. So be sure to head over there, subscribe. He's got awesome content coming out the way. And he just literally mentioned that he'll be dropping some business videos. Half of you cats, according to my analytics, have an interest in business. So that's the reason to subscribe and check him out.
I see. I'm gonna check how many subscribers you got, bro. And then if half of y'all don't come over there, then I know y'all just hate, man. But now, like, right. I'm gonna drop some gems. Like, I'm gonna give people what they want to see on my channel, but I'm gonna drop some. I'm gonna drop some gems and videos, even if I'm talking about a completely different topic. Like, I got like rental property advice. I got a rental property in Arizona. I got just different tidbits I'm gonna just drop on people to kind of give you insight of, because if you want to get women, at the end of the day, you got to have resources. You got to have your stuff together. So it all kind of goes together as being a complete man.
Hey, definitely. Plus, I can speak from experience. He's got awesome content over there, so be sure to check him out.
My guy. You as well, man. I learned a lot from you, man. I remember that consultation we had, bro. It was extremely valuable. So if you guys are like content creators, or if you want to put out a book or anything like that, man, well, if you guys are here, you already know you got the content. I highly recommend a consultation, man, if you haven't yet. Sure.
All right. Appreciate that. So it looks like we actually don't have any final questions. So I would say before we conclude for tonight, do you have anything else you want to share with my audience?
Man, just stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what you're passionate about, because some people just do things just for the money, and I've
end up miserable.
That's not,
and end up miserable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. It's not something you're gonna put in the hours when it's not rewarding. Like, you're gonna put in those free hours for something you're passionate about. Like when I was becoming a trainer, I was in Hawaii studying my trainer book on vacation because I was passionate about it. I loved it. I really wanted to be the best. So if it's something that you could find that you want to be the best at, and you really want to be, you enjoy doing, don't just think about only the money, because if you get good and you figure out the business, the money will come. You know what I'm saying? Just focus, like me on YouTube right now. I'm focusing on being good. I spent a whole year just focusing on trying to get better and better at making videos, figuring out how to promote it, how to make thumbnails, how to get the algorithm on my side. You know what I mean? Like what people like. And now a year later, keep in mind, January I had 500 subscribers. I got 3,000 subscribers as of today, a little over 3,000. So, bro, nuts. You know what I'm saying? And it's just every week I'm focusing on putting more videos out, trying to figure out how to get better, studying. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I'm paying out money over a year, and then now I'm monetizing. I can make a little bit of that recoup, and you can start that snowball effect. So it's really just focus on becoming better and better at something. Don't just think about the money. You have to be passionate about what you're doing.
So that actually translates into the mission statement of Financial Anatomy. Take control of your financial destiny. Y'all all know we're all about making money using the assets in your personality. And once you find out what those are, you just find a skill set that marries between. You find a skill set that matches your personality, put the work in, you're going to make money, you're going to be happy. And once you got those two things aligned, make sure you have your investments set up and your goals set up, and then you're good to go. So with that being said, everyone, we're going to go ahead and conclude it. I appreciate you joining us, Sani Bravo, and be sure to subscribe to him. I'm going to leave links to his social medias in the description. So y'all get out there and take control of your financial destiny. I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, everyone. That concludes this episode of the Side Hustler Society podcast. If you want to know more about Hasan, he actually has a YouTube channel, which I talked about in the live stream that you just listened to. On YouTube, it's actually linked in the description and also the pinned comment. So be sure to check him out. And for those of y'all that are listening on the podcast, his YouTube channel is Sani Bravo Reacts. I'll catch y'all in the next video and podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe for more content so you can be notified when we come out with the next version of the podcast. And give this video a thumbs up, as it helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and it's very much appreciated. And for those of y'all listening on the podcast, if you could leave a review about your thoughts on the podcast, that would be awesome. And it goes a long way towards helping the podcast out. This is Elijah Bilel out. Catch you in the next episode.
This episode may be over, but your hustling journey has just started. Visit thesidehustlesociety.com to access all links and resources mentioned in the show that will help you on your hustler's journey.